Thank you very much. I would say, in listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt, because of the confliction, very, very corrupt. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see.
Shout out to Trump, okay? It is just ridiculous what is going on. And I just want to say, before we really dive deeper into this whole thing, Alvin Bragg, Mr. Letitia James, Gorilla Grip Fannie Willis, and Jackoff Smith all need to be prosecuted to make sure that political prosecution never happens again in this country. Drop down below in the comments if you agree. That is just my thoughts with seeing everything that's going on. This stuff is absolutely nuts. And yeah. Shout out to the King Squad. Thank you to everyone who donates to the channel and keeps me updated in the emails. I appreciate you guys. And we are back at it. Let's get right into our next clip here. And shout out to our guy, Benny. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump will be heading back to court before he becomes president of the United States. In fact, hours before he becomes president of the United States, to face potentially 4 years in prison for the bookkeeping records charges in New York City, charges that were, and I'm saying this politely, total and complete bullshit from the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news as of this very moment. Trump to be sentenced in bookkeeping records, hush money case.
Also, make sure to hit that smash the like button and hit subscribe if you're new here. Let's continue with the video.
January 10th, days before inauguration. Judge Juan Merchan said sentencing for January 10th after Trump's conviction of 34 felony counts in Manhattan hush money case. They literally copy and pasted all 34 felony counts. Now, why are they doing this? They're doing this for a very specific reason. Talk to a lawyer right before recording this. Here's what happens. You're not a felon unless you get charged and then sentenced. A judge must sentence you. Just because a jury finds you one way or another, plenty of judges actually, on summary judgment, like reject jury findings. They can do that. In the American legal and judicial system, each state has their own rules. But this is massive because what they're going to try and do is say that Trump's a felon. They actually can't say Trump's a felon until the judge sentences him. So Trump is currently not a felon. So this is what they're going to try. This is what they're going to try and do before this becomes a total zombie case, and before a bunch of people get fired and investigated, and all these people go to jail. They have to try and make the felon thing stick. And so that's what they're going to try and do. Or they're going to try and put Trump in jail for 4 years. They could potentially put Trump in jail for 4 years. Now, of course, that would tear at the absolute fabric of our Constitution, and would need to be overturned at the Supreme Court, which would make a very arduous process because it's a long time from a state court to the U.S. Supreme Court. But nonetheless, here we go. Ordered the defendant appear sentencing following conviction January 10th, 2025 at 9:30 in the morning at the courthouse located in New York County. So this is Juan Merchan ordering the duly elected president of the United States, who won in a historic landslide, won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, to come into his dingy, absolute garbage pit, rat-infested courthouse, and to face sentencing, potentially face 4 years in prison. Dude, if he sentences Trump to prison time, again, you are going to face a existential crisis the likes of which you've never seen before in the country. Judge Merchan has ordered President Trump to appear sentencing for the hush money case 10 days before he's sworn in as the 47th president of the United States in order to allow President Trump to appear virtually. The order allows President Trump to appear virtually, a signal that any possible sentencing will not physically interfere with President Trump performing his presidential duties. But you never know. You know, we all thought that all these cases would fall apart, right? None of these cases would be successful. And it turns out that we were right on virtually all of them, with the exception of this one. This was the one they were able to get over the line. Again, it's a bookkeeping record that is copy and pasted 34 different times. that is a misdemeanor that was bootstrapped into a felony with a novel legal theory with the help of Joe Biden's Justice Department, somebody named Matthew Colangelo, who left to go into this department and to work, take a massive demotion to go move into this Alvin Bragg's department to go and run this case. So it's literally the Biden Justice Department running this case against Trump, and they actually are going to try and get this thing over the line and sentence Trump. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg has argued for suspending the sentencing, keeping the ruling pending during Trump's presidency. Total clown show. Judge Juan Merchan orders Trump.
It just shows you how bitter they are. I mean, seriously, they are extremely bitter, and they showed us that with running Ku Klux Kamala Harris and with Jurassic Joe's, actions, show priorities. They display priorities and all that kind of stuff, and you just see that they don't put the country first. They have their own wicked agendas, and anyone who defies them must suffer their wrath. That's really what we're seeing. Okay, and we're going to continue to call this nonsense out and address it.
Trump to be sentenced in the money case. Court finds that neither the vacator or the jury's verdicts nor dismissal of the indictment is required by presidential immunity doctrine, the Presidential Transition Act, or Supremacy Clause. I mean, how insane is this that you're going to take... At this point, you have to just simply assume that they want America to fail.
They do, though. They really do. This is what I mean when I say actions express priorities. And it says that when you just look at Biden's track record, he did not prioritize America. Okay, I said this in one of my previous videos. They were hiding his flaws, and we were living it. Okay, he kept fumbling the country. He kept taking the country and just tossing the American people to the side and prioritizing everyone who's not American. And we're out here suffering, and every day is just getting increasingly harder and, more difficult, just to get through each day. And he just didn't care. He was somewhere off eating ice cream on a beach. He's somewhere, sleeping. He forgot he was president, and it was just a mess. It was just a mess. He clearly did not care about the American people, America. He did not put us first, anything like that. And you saw the same thing with Ku Klux Kamala Harris. And it's a good thing that we shut her down as well, because that would have been Obama's fourth term right there. Okay. Yeah. So their TDS is just outrageous. It's off the charts here. This is how much they hate Trump, and this is how far they'll go. I mean, we know how far they'll go. So much so that they're trying to do assassination attempts. Cyber trucks are blowing up, and people are snipers on the roof. What is this? A Mission Impossible movie? What is this? When I didn't know I was watching Transformers 6. I just didn't know. What is this? Okay, can you just let Trump do his second term? I mean, really.
Let's say they don't sentence him to prison, right? Trump could face 4 years in prison for this. And if Trump didn't win the election in 2024, he was going to go to jail, and he was going to spend the rest of his life in jail. Those were the stakes for President Trump. Imagine living with those stakes. I mean, it's incredible what this man has been through. What they're doing right here is they are literally stealing time from a presidential transition, which is arguably the most important in our lifetime, with so many ongoing threats to the United States, to this country, and to the world at large. And they're going to steal his time, even if it is done virtually, to be a time vampire, to take away from his capacity to run a presidential transition. That's what they're doing. This is what's happening.
It's all about control with them, too. It's very narcissistic, if you ask me. But, you can drop down below in the comments if you agree. I digress on that note. But it's really, it strikes me as it's all about control. When they can't control you, you have to suffer their wrath, okay? And they can't control Trump. Trump is his own person. He's a straight shooter. He's straight up. He's bold. He's got his own money. He can't be controlled, and they hate that. So they're like, all right, well, we sent our Democrat assassin bulldogs, Mr. Letitia James and Gorilla Grip Fanny out here, but they fumbled and failed. And now, we had some snipers on the roof. They missed. We sent a Cybertruck Decepticon to the Trump Tower. That failed. What else do we have in the arsenal? Where's that judge at? You know what? Can we revive this case? Can we bring this back? Yeah, let's revive this case like Lazarus and just rob Trump of his time. Make him appear on a screen. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's how we can get some control. I mean, really, it is frustrating.
Happening right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York judge says that Donald Trump may not face prison time in the hush money case. Okay, let's read. While the court, as a matter of law, does not make any determination to sentencing prior giving the parties of the defendant an opportunity to be heard, it seems proper at this juncture to make known that the court's indication did not impose any sentence of incarceration, a sentence authorized by the conviction, but one the people concede they no longer view as a practical recommendation. Really? Oh, okay. So this is him saying he was planning on sending Trump to prison. Look at this. A sentence authorized by the conviction, meaning this is what I was going to do. I was going to put Trump in prison. Underlying concerns of presidential immunity doctrine and the sentence of unconditional discharge appears to be the most viable solution to ensure, finally, to allow the defendant to pursue appellate options. Man, I can't wait for these things to be thrown into the incinerator where they belong. Defendant's concerns regarding
Facts. We're just trying to be unburdened by what has been, and they're trying to continue to burden us. It's just ridiculous. This man Biden just can't get over the fact that he's done. He's done. They're just blown away. I mean, you saw the liberal meltdowns and the liberal tears from Trump winning. Okay. And, I personally was one to think that, if they felt this passionately about it, which is ridiculous. I don't know why, where their brains were at. I guess it just was non-existent. They're not going to stop. And this is that right here. All this is that right here. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep going.
Mental and physical demands during.
Drop down below in the comments what you guys think. Run this part back really quick.
Into the incinerator where they belong. Defendant's concerns regarding mental and physical demands during the transition period, as well as the considerations set forth. The court will permit the defendant to exercise his right to appear virtually in the proceeding if he chooses. So there you go. Juan Merchan, written decision, President Trump will face neither jail time nor penalties at the New York sentencing. Well, that is proper, but once again, they're going to try and put the man into the box, as they can say he's a felon. This is what this is about. I mean, if they dared, sentence him to prison.
Ridiculous.
He's all but saying there, that's what I wanted to do. The entire thing is outrageous. The entire thing has always been an outrage. Every other case has now fallen completely to pieces. Atomized. Boom, gone. This one remains as the single zombie case. It's so cringe. It's so tearing at the fabric of the nation. It's wanton destruction of the will of the people. You should never, ever forgive them for this. Here's the breaking Fox News segment on it, filling in further details.
All right, breaking right now, the judge rejecting President-elect Trump's bid to throw out his criminal conviction in New York because of his election win and ordering to show up for a sentencing a week from today, either in person or virtually. That's all according to Reuters. Prosecutors had suggested putting the case on hold until Trump leaves office, but now he's facing sentencing before Inauguration Day. Constitutional attorney and Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley is going to be standing by on the phone for us in just a moment, but we have Clay Travis, I believe, with us still here. Clay, your reaction. This is just an incredible hour to go from, a win for the president-elect with the speakership and now sentencing before inauguration.
Yeah, this is crazy. I will say the fact that you just hit it, I've got the order in front of me right now, to allow him to appear virtually suggests to me that there is not going to be a substantial punishment coming from Judge Merchan. Now, I could be wrong, but if you're virtually sentencing someone, you're not taking them into custody or trying to do something in a significant way there. So that's my biggest takeaway reading the order.
All right, Clay Travis, thank you very much. We want to bring in constitutional attorney and Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley now by phone. Jonathan, break this down for us. What does this mean? What are we likely to see play out?
Well, that's a very good question. This is a judge that has kept people really guessing for a very long time. I described this once as the longest performance of Hamlet in history. We really could not figure out what the Mershon was going to do. He's now decided to sentence a president shortly before he is sworn in. Now, one of the things that I've said in the past is that many of the complications that we've been talking about and potential conflicts with the constitutional standards only arise if you impose a sentence that would hold him physically or demand his appearance, things like home confinement or actual sentence to jail. This would be a case where you would not even normally see a sentence for incarceration. So I've always doubted that that would be coming out of this case. So the court may be looking at this and saying, I'm not going to trigger any constitutional problems because I'm going to hand down a sentence that's not going to bind him in any way or interfere with his carrying out his duties. The one thing that I have to say, if you put a positive spin on this, is the worst option is the one suggested by Bragg, that you should just suspend the sentence and keep the president as pending sentencing for 4 years. That was a perfectly horrific idea that's being pushed by many. And I think that
Jonathan,
many people on the
we've got less than 30 seconds left in the show, but I want to ask you, what do you expect the Trump team to do in response to this? Can they appeal it? What happens next?
I don't think they're going to have a lot of luck appealing this. I think the appellate court's going to want to see what he rules. Because if he comes down with a sentence that doesn't bind the president, then a lot...
I mean, there you have it, guys. It's shout out to Benny. I just think it's ridiculous. I think it's very vindictive. It's spiteful. It is just narcissistic. You know, it's just wild. It's just wild. They're trying to make sure that Trump just does not get into office at all. You know, and that he or if they can't fully prevent him from getting into office, they're going to make his life as difficult as possible. Okay. And that is just, wild if you ask me. I mean, you don't see this happening to Biden. You don't see this happening to Ku Klux, Kamala Harris. Mind you, they've made our lives significantly more difficult, So I just think it's just wicked at this point. It's very nescient. This is nefarious work here. And that's that. Shout out to Trump 2024. And that's that, shout out to Trump 2025 and all that. I just want to see Trump in office, man, at this point. I really do. We're right there, and they're just toying with us at this point. But like I said, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Shout out to the King Squad. I appreciate everyone who watched this video all the way through. Thank you to everyone who left a positive comment. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to everyone who donates to the channel and keeps me updated in the emails. I appreciate you guys, and have a great and awesome day. I hope everyone's making their money legally and drinking their water. No, this is not financial advice, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.